Hello, everybody. How you doing? It's Damon yet again. Basically, beside the Supergirl video, I just took some much needed alone time. Well, some much needed resting and healing time over the weekend. So I hope everything's well in your end. Today will be a short video. I know I say it often, but this time will be a short video because honestly, today all I wanted to do was book reviews of books I've read recently over the last week. And one of them, for my wrestling fans out there, well, for wrestling fans like me, I think everybody would know it. It's Bret Hart's. You know, it's the Hitman Bret Hart, my real life in the cartoon world of wrestling. It's 500, nearly 600 pages. I was surprised how hooked I was from beginning to end. It talks us about his early life, basically going to desperation during high school, basically the how he grew up with basically his other siblings, the Hart family, basically what it was like to be the son of Stu and Ellen Hart. He has a bit of pressure going being a pro wrestler despite his own dream, basically dilemmas that come in within this. Um Also, basically, try to be a film student, and yeah, we could have this, but we also had Stampede, in Career Stampede, basically trips to Japan, Puerto Rico, and then onto basically WWE buying out the Stampede territory and going to the WWE or WWF back in the day. And his career blossomed since then. And the many trials and tribulation, which were going from basically a wrestler that was supposed to be Cowboy Bret Hart or Buddy the Heartthrob Hart to eventually becoming Bret Hart, one half of the Hart Foundation, winning and basically being colorless. As in by colorless, it means he didn't have his pink and tights outfit. He would have pink and turquoise, pink and indigo. Sorry. He would have black and blue tights. He would have black and indigo tights. He would have black and green tights. He would have black anything. But the moment that pink and black, this is where they found the color for the Heart Foundation. And the moment that happened soon afterwards, basically early 1987, despite having great match with the British Bulldog, despite having one match, which I felt my rebooking category with Ricky Steamboat, which should have been his first ever singles match at WrestleMania ever. That didn't happen. But it says already from get-go, people already knew about Bret Hart's reputation as solid, if not great worker, already at that point, and was trustable. And the guy knew about the business. He knew how to book the business, he knew how to breed the business. Like, take note, Triple H, this guy had it. And yeah, then he went on to, as you know, he went on to win the first ever World Tag Team titles with Jim Neidhart over the British Bulldog because Tom Wellington, the Dynamite Kid, was beyond injured. Then afterwards, basically, they lost the tag titles to Strike Force in late 1987. They went on to the Battle Royal, the WrestleMania 4 Battle Royal, where Bret Hart, like at WrestleMania 2, was the last man eliminated. But in this case was double crossed by Bad News Brown, a wrestler who happened to be bald and wear black trunks. And it led to Bret Hart returning the ring, hitting Bad News Brown with a drop kick, sending him to the outside, breaking the trophy, and officially becoming babyface for the first time in the WWE. And that babyface run would last until from 1988 to 1997, which would say something. Back in the day when you turned heel, it meant something. Nowadays, it's like after 2, 3 years, hey, I'm kind of bored, let's turn heel. But then he went on, basically, they were teasing a single push. That might have happened, but not. So he's stuck in the tag titles division and basically had three SummerSlam matches for the World Tag Team titles. The first two ones he lost. Third one, the 2 out of 3 falls over the Demolition. They won. They won against Rhythm and Blues at WrestleMania 5. They won in record amount of time for a tag team match. I think it was the shortest tag team match ever at WrestleMania over the Bolsheviks at WrestleMania 6. Basically, they won the tag team titles in the latter half of 1990 and kept the title until 1991 at WrestleMania 7. And afterwards, just with my thoughts. Afterwards, basically, in WrestleMania 7. You went on to the our foundation ended up splitting up. So we have basically Bret on his hand, Jim Knott on his hand, and Bret ended up winning the Intercontinental title over Mr. Perfect, which was a great enough match. In my opinion, it might be my favorite SummerSlam ever, SummerSlam 981. He kept on the title. He won the King of the Ring the same year. Even if it's not televised, it's a very important event, and I'll come back to that later. And afterwards, he went on to lose the title due to a flu, in quotation marks. The Mountie wasn't involved in the Rumble, and honestly, I thought his character did not fit the Rumble scene at point. And he went on to wrestle and beat Roddy Piper for the IC title at WrestleMania 8. Actually, that was the best thing could happen for him to lose that title like this. And he kept that title until SummerSlam 992 in the most important Intercontinental title match of all time against the British Bulldog, as it happened to main event SummerSlam. Like, as much as I love Ricky Steamboat and Randy Savage and Shawn versus Razor, which all of these to me might just be my favorite IC title matches ever, it doesn't change the fact that to me, Bret versus Bulldog happened to be the most important one. Then, several months afterwards, in the book, it basically mentioned that Vince kind of said, "We put you King of the Ring, and you King of the Ring, give the title, world title titles twice, we give you IC title twice, so we don't know what to do anymore with this." And for a while, I feel like Vince enjoyed seeing Bret Hart think, "You're gonna fire me, aren't you? Don't you dare fire me." It's like, just let him think that. So then he says, that's why we're gonna put the world title on you. I don't believe that Vince did not enjoy or relish basically the turmoil for several minutes on this one. I do believe it. He's that kind of person. Then he win the title at Saskatoon in a glorified house show, but I remember it wasn't tape, Smack Him, Whack Him, I think. And I remember watching on VHS and it was very, very entertaining, but it's also, I also miss those kind of title changes. I'm not saying it should happen all the time, but imagine basically this: you tune in TV, you don't know what happened in a lounge show, and say, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new world heavyweight champion, and it happened to be this. Like, it shouldn't happen often. Like, why can't a Money in the Bank match or Money in the Bank once, not every time, maybe cash in on a house show in their hometown, and it's like, oh boy, that changed the dynamics of things. So yeah, or better yet, somebody could go and cash in their Money in the Bank match in advance at WrestleMania. I know, something like that. But then you have basically Bret Hart's reign as champ, first reign as champion. They lose at WrestleMania 9, and basically back to politics with Hogan, McMahon. Man, Yokozuna wasn't basically involved in politics, but in some way he benefited from this. Then you get basically Bret Hart reconsidering if he should be basically, if we should stay in WWE or take sabbatical, basically, if he didn't get his feud with Owen. Because he was interested with Bruce Hart. And let's be honest, the more I read about this, the more I wouldn't be interested in any Bruce Hart thing. And yeah, and then yeah, Bret versus Owen, basically all they're working it to basically other many some of the ribs of Owen Hart, and then it leads up to basically Bret Hart winning the Rumble, going on to WrestleMania. You know what happened with WrestleMania 10, and so yeah. Sorry, where was I? Sorry for it. I just forgot something outside. So yeah, and at WrestleMania 10, basically, you had Bret Hart basically with Owen over that majestic match that happened there. And yeah, so what else could happen? Basically, it's title reign, basically this. You could see also, for basically, you could see also basically his conflicts with Vince McMahon over the false promise that Vince had. So yeah, that's very, very important there. So, so yeah, yeah, false promises there, many, many false promises. So that's great there. Great for reading. That is not great for Brett. But and then you went on to his title loss, basically his whole year of 1995, which was a terrible year of business all around. Then you basically go on to him win the title back at Survivor Series 1995 with Spotty Table Spot. Then he goes on to basically detail the background behind the hilarious, unintentionally hilarious vignettes of him prepared for the Iron Man match with Shawn Michaels, and the title to Shawn Michaels, his break for 1 year, then coming back to Survivor Series 996, and of course Survivor Series 96 and now Survivor Series 997, the turmoil backstage, his issues with the Clique, especially exploding there, basically Vince McMahon even more, doing even more false promises, and then the old WWE stint from 997,000, the turmoil within the own Art family, especially after Owen Hart's tragic fatal accident, and his own obstacles, like his own obstacles with his marriage and other things there. I thought it was a very truthful, detailed uh, book, and I know it's been said enough, but it's like every time that I felt like Brad, sometimes like you see autobiography that the author would toot their own horn, and Brett Wood in terms of his technical prowess in the ring, it's true, but I didn't feel like he's tooted his own horn on anything else. Like he's damn good in the ring. I said he's one of the best, if not the best, technical wrestlers ever. So that's fine. But I thought it was too harsh on himself in terms of mic skills. He's very good in the mic on mic. At first, maybe not, but from 994 to 998, when he's focused, he knows what to say. It just so happened that after 998 in WWE, he wasn't as focused because let's be honest, WWE had crap storylines. But he was saying in terms of presence. I saw that in terms of presence, he also had good presence in the ring. So yeah, I thought he was selling himself short, to be honest with you. But I thought that's also this. Like sometimes, okay, there's some aspect, okay, it's true, he was getting the details on his own faults, his own infidelities in marriage. And I like the fact that sometimes this is where he actually somehow mocked himself, like saying, I needed it. It's like basically like saying, looking back from afar from the future, saying, yeah, you were looking, basically saying to his younger self that he was looking for an excuse to cheat. Or this is how he felt at the time. I thought that he didn't really like gave himself some, oh, but I only did this. It felt like he was just basically admitting his flaws, his faults, he admitted the marriage with Julie was not perfect at all. They had a lot of trials and tribulations. But yeah, I felt like at the same time, I didn't think that Brett just basically rationalized every action he did, or basically say he was right in everything, which is something in autobiography you can see. Like, I was right in doing this. Like, no, there's some things you weren't. Like, and that's what I meant. It was honest. It was interesting in detail. Like all the details you can remember basically from notes they did, and also I think sometimes would tape some details. Basically, this so you could see that it was a lot of detail. Some autobiography make a ton of mistakes, and this one there's some, but not as much as others. Like I said, he admits his own flaws, which is very, very, very important to me in terms of biography or any book. Well, biographies. You admit their own flaws there. Basically, Brett liked the, Brett liked his infidelities, but yeah, it didn't feel like he flaunted them in this book as much as he admitted to them. Like saying, "See, I don't want people to think I'm giving the wrong opinion of me. It's like I don't want to seem like, hey, whatever it is. Like, hey, I did that, so." Oh, and by the way, oh, but you could like if I just imagine people say, "Oh, but you don't have to say no, 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 I did that." So you don't maybe not judge me, but keep that in consideration. I'm far from perfect. So, so yeah, there was this, and let's see this. Yeah, yeah, it was a very good detailed look to his career and how you view his career. How I basically spent his career, and I really, really enjoyed that book. The only bad aspect of it, and this is me nitpicking, is some of the mistakes that would happen sometimes throughout the books. Like I mentioned, he said that Tito Santana, Aku, and Barbarian were let go in 991, which isn't the case. Tito Santana was repackaged as El Matador Tito Santana. Aku was let go in 992, as well as Barbarian, because all of them were in 992 Royal Rumble. So that's not true there. So This is like the one thing that maybe Bretta didn't take in consideration when you wrote it down, but that's not so important, just me nitpicking. But overall, I would give that book 9 to 9.5 out of 10. That's the first book. The other book would be Vieille École from Alexandre Fontaine Rousseau. Why is it important? In this case, you can see basically old cover. It's like an old NES cartridge, and especially an old NES Castlevania cartridge. Why do I love it? Because reading this remind me of probably back to the 1980s when I got the Nintendo, the NES, and we played many games. That's of course the Super Mario. Like people don't understand like the first Super Mario, yeah, it created a dynasty. But let's be honest, the first Nintendo or the first Super Mario Bros. Uh, actually the one in '85 that people remember was so much fun, but at the same time, it didn't come in with a YouTube, tell a playthrough, basically how to guide you to the game. You basically got to experiment on your own. You might have basically Nintendo magazine, but that came in once a month, and there's no guarantee that they're gonna help you in a playthrough. You have to figure it out on your own. And yeah, the first world is not that tough, but it get progressively tough until you hit basically the the eighth world. And many people didn't go one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. They would just went one to warp to level to world four to warp to level to world eight. And those things, find out those warps were basically with trial and error through playthrough. And what's so rewarding being the last like world eight, level four, because this was a labyrinth throughout Koopa's castle and not being though the only way to beat Bowser was the same thing as before, he just so happened to be more jumpy, so you have to be careful with the judge him. So there was a lot of difficulty. It's also reminded me of the original TMNT game. So everybody say, oh, the first level is kind of easy. Then you go to the second level, the dam level, and that trouble locating all the underwater bombs. And it's kind of funny because me and my brother kind of figured out that trick really easy. I'm surprised that people mention that's the hardest part of the game. If anything, I'd say the last level, the final stage in the Technodrome was the hardest part of the game. Like before you fight Shredder. And if you fight Shredder, here's a trick. Make sure that Donatello's there because Donatello, all you have to do is go up to the highest platform and just crouch down and do a bow staff hit, and you would defeat Shredder really easily. So yeah, there's also it brought me up to Kung Fu. They gave me like Kung Fu Excite Bikes, and basically the first time you play them, you think nothing of this, but eventually, you know, you get uh it says really hooked in the game. Also Popeye. It was surprised that Popeye was seen as so in that game so uh like so important because it was basically a prelude to actual Donkey Kong. It's pretty much similar to the same game. If anybody played Popeye on the Nintendo, it's the same thing. Balloon Fight was so underrated but fun. Uh, looking through this, of course, it talks about Castlevania. Of course. I mean, Castlevania had six stages, but before the last boss was pretty tough. And guess what? I just imagine somebody going to the sixth stage, beating Dracula. Oh yeah, I beat him up, but then they forgot. Oh, they let down they let down the controller, and they found out. Oh crap! There's another form, and they get killed in the second form there, and then you have to restart the whole fight with Dracula all over the place. So yeah, Ghosts and Goblins. It's all about Ghosts and Goblins, and of course, it talks about Battle Toads, the dreaded turbo tunnel, turbo bike levels. Oh God, there were those are legendary for the wrong reasons. Like you couldn't say to anybody else how much the developers seem to uh hate the players, and you found out the reason why there's a high spike, which maybe we don't have today. It's not a thing of generational reason. It's just because they wanted you to not just rent the game, they wanted you to buy it. Because if you rented it and finished it, you might be less likely to buy it, which is kind of hilarious because some games I do remember beating them when they rented them, but they were so much fun I ended up buying them anyway. So I think I'm not sure about this. I would say for every game, I'm thinking at the same time, it depends their game is highly replayable. Maybe they didn't have confidence the fact that some games were just not replayable. Other games that talk about what Metroid, Jacko, uh, Super Mario 2, why it was different. Basically, it was supposed to be Pokey Pokey Panic, I think. So, sorry, Doki Doki Panic. So and Bubble and Bubble, Blades of Steel. Like where all games were so damn fun. So I think you should, if you ever, for any of my basically francophone or basically French speaking fans, if you're ever in the mood to read about a book that transports you back to the 1980s, transports you back to your childhood and playing NES games without any concerns, read Vieille École from Alexandre Fontaine-Rousseau. So those are my book reviews today. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. See you later. Peace.